Good evening. Today is the Saturday, 25th of September, and in today's video, I would like to touch base on some critical aspects that need to be addressed if you are keen on pursuing a career as a professional trader. Most who engage with the content and watch the videos are typically an audience who have at least 1 year of experience trading the FNO market. And the content that is outlined here is specifically addressed to them, while it can be useful for investors also, as the process of money management, discipline, and the role of system is common to both the trader and the investor. So let's get started. The question is how to become a better trader. And a better trader is not necessarily recognized by percentage profits. It is my view that a better trader needs to factor far more variables than simply return on equity. And one of those variables is the maximum potential loss that a system can take, because it is the knowledge of that loss that is critical in order to take a decision. So, in the words of Van Tharp, trading is 10% system. By system, he means entry and exit, 25% money management, and the remaining as soft skills. By systems, we refer to as hard skills. Hard skills imply your technical, fundamental, and other analytical skill sets that you bring to the table in order to take a decision. By hard skills, I would assume that the listener of the video already knows what an oscillator is, and that he or she already knows that one is to sell under overbought conditions and buy under oversold conditions. How to determine these overbought and oversold conditions are also understood and known to the listener. And you will agree with me that irrespective of the number of indicators and the oscillators and moving averages and a series of other variables, it does not take that much time to acquire the necessary skill set in order to lay the foundation of a trading system. And therefore, it is reasonable, even in my experience, to believe that systems play the minority role in your overall success. The next aspect is money management, and money management is related to the position sizing. That is, how much quantity are you going to take for a specific trade? How much drawdown do you actually expect? And your quantity is a function of outlining the probability. What does it mean is, if I am certain of a particular event to happen, then mathematically I will represent it by going all in on that trade. However, if I believe that there is a chance that the trade can fail, then I will certainly not go all in on that trade. So, in other words, somewhere between allocating 100% of your capital and 0% of your capital, or allocating 100% of your risk capital or 0% of your risk capital per trade lies the correct answer. And our objective is to determine what would be the correct answer for us. The third element is the soft skill or the attitude that you bring to the table. Here we have our trading behavior and psychology. A lot has been said on this, and it is my view that this is a critical differentiator. When we talk about psychology, trading behavior, and the overall attitude, it is also my view that for some reason people believe that these are intangibles and cannot be measured. I am of the opinion that through careful documentation and study of your own data, you can objectively quantify your attitude, your psychological bent, and general limitations and strengths of your trading behavior, which once quantified can also be improved. Now, to that effect, Documenting your trades objectively is a critical step in your overall direction of improvement as a trader and helps someone give you much more accurate and relevant advice. Training courses which do not factor your own trade records can at best help you with the hard skills. Which means if I or anyone were to run a pre recorded course content on trading, at best we could share our perspective of MACD or Bollinger Bands. If you are willing to take greater efforts, you might just learn about Bollinger Bands from the creator of Bollinger Bands. You might learn about ADX from the creator of ADX. There are well written books and documents that are available in public domain. So to take a course on trading which effectively only works in teaching you what is already available for free adds little value in the long run. So, in this step, I would like to lead you through the process that I follow. As a trader, the records that I will share with you are specific to my system, and I understand that a scalper, a day trader, a swing trader, a positional trader, a pattern trader, a gap trader, channel trader, trend trader, everyone could have different measurement criteria. However, there is a commonality and there are certain frameworks which are common to us, irrespective of the system we use to deploy in the market. So let's get started. The first step in analyzing your data is to simply go to your broker's back office and select your P&L reports in a particular fashion. Now, what we want to do is we want to work with that data that the broker gives to us as a default and tweak that data in a manner that is relevant and helpful for us. So, what is the default data that one of the brokers is showing us? So, the answer here is it is giving me information on the symbol. That is, it is telling me Havels in the year 2021 for July series, the future contract, the quantity that we traded, the average price at which we traded it, the average price at which we sold, and our net PNL for that particular trade, along with the change in percentage, which means that our entry from 1010 and our sell at 1178 accounts to roughly 16.5%. This information is given to us by the broker. If you have an extensively long trading record, then you could download this information directly. And if your trading record runs into just a few pages, you could simply copy this content and paste it in an Excel sheet in this fashion. Now, I'll just zoom into this Excel sheet. And here you will see what I have done is, you will notice that I have added the period. Period here is April 2017, which means from the time I started working with this particular broker or the time from which this broker maintained records that I could access. I have added a trade from April 2017. SF is something that I have added which indicates it's a stock future, whereas IF indicates that it is an index future, and this is how I distinguish the two systems that is captured in this data that I'm showing you. Please note that this data is only for futures and options and not for commodity, currency, equity, or any other system that we deploy. And in addition, this is not in this setup we don't trade options, so the data for options is not here. However, we are looking at a specific system and I will just run you through that. So here we will see that there is a period, there is the segment. Now this symbol, quantity, buy average, buy value, sell average, sell value, realized PNL and percentage is something that we directly copy paste or capture from the broker data. The next step would be to determine the total PNL, which is simply the realized PNL, and by using a formula, if the cell, I mean it's a simple if formula, if the cell J2 is the realized PNL, is greater than 0, then write profit, else write loss. Since in this case we can clearly see that J2 is minus 3.4%, therefore this is automatically registered as a loss. Now, when you repeat this process from April 2017, and essentially what you have to do is you have to capture this data, paste it here, you will get all this information with the exception of column A and B and the column K and L. Now, what is K? K is showing total PNL, which means that my first trade resulted in a loss of minus 23,960. The second trade resulted in a loss of minus 9,415. Therefore, cumulative loss is shown as I3 plus K2, which in this case is minus 33,375. Third trade, we lose another 14,940, taking the loss down to minus 48,315. And it takes us after four losses, we register our first gain of 41,350 in HDFC futures in 2017, resulting in a gain of 41,000 and bringing our total PNL now to minus 17,000. So, in this manner, once you have entered the data of trades that are closed, you are now for several years, once you scroll, it will take you right up till September 2021, in which the trades have been executed. And so now what I have is, as of September 25th, we must understand that the expiry is not yet over. As of September 25th, all trades that are closed, because I do this process every week, all trades that are closed are documented in the Excel format. And now, once we have the entire set of documentation, you can now calculate some amazing things, a part of which I will show you because we can do them automatically. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to understand our equity curve. So in order to understand our equity curve, the steps that we have followed here, this determining realized PNL and using this information to determine column K, what we get is a graph that looks like this. Yeah. So sorry for the lag. All right. So this is the graph that we get. And now we will see from April all the way up till February 2009, we can see the phase of struggle, and the account create a high of 8,54,000, and then in a few months the account ends up creating a low of 2,50,000, which means that from a high of 8,50,000 we create a low of 2,50,000, giving away almost 75% of our accrued gains in a few months. Now, once this shows that somewhere around 2019 my trading behavior could have sent the account down by 75%. Now, this information I get simply by focusing on the high and the low. Now, from this 2019, I mean somewhere around whichever period, because these are several months, but from this 2,50,000 rupees, the account now stabilizes and shows a near V-shaped recovery and goes all the way up to 14,35,000 rupees. And we can see this now. This has happened in Jan, Feb, March 2020, because this is the phase around COVID. So we lose money pre-COVID, and once COVID hits in, that is the market catches a trending nature, we come back now from somewhere around 2.5 lakh all the way up till 14.3 lakh. Now, from this period of March 2020, from high of 14 lakh, we see the account go and create another low of 10 lakh 30,000, which means this time from the high to low, the account has eroded 40% in valuation. Whereas in 2019, I had successfully managed to send the account back 78% in valuation or 75% in valuation. So this kind of a fall in your trading is an indicative that you are a bad trader. if you can give away 78% of the gains, which took me from 2017 all the way up till 2019 to accrue in 2 months, then it is the definition of being a bad, unreliable trader. And one needs to, I mean, it's not about making the 8.5 lakh. It is equally important to be able to protect it. And this graph reveals the weakness of my trading behavior. And of course, because we have this tendency to grow, so once we stabilize, the account definitely moves up around 6 times to reach almost 15 lakhs or 14.5 lakh, and then corrects by 40%. So now there is an improvement from 75% to 40%, and from this 10 lakhs the account straight goes to 27 lakhs. Now we are seeing that we got a clear 3x jump in the pretty much, I mean, from March 20 to June, July, September 2020. Now, from September 2020, we now see that the account from a high of 27 lakh 60 makes a low of 22 lakh 24. So we are seeing, you will see multiple entries of 22 lakhs, which means that all the way from July 2020 right up till October, November 2020, the account was creating a base. And what is more important for us to see is that from 27 lakh to 22 lakhs, which means a loss of 5 lakh rupees on a base of 25 lakh rupees is 20%, while on a base of 30 lakh rupees is 16.6%. So this time our pullback is somewhere around 15 to 20%. So this is a much better pullback. After the first wave of fall in May 2020, the account stabilized for a couple of months, and from this low of 22 lakhs, the account simply pushes all the way up to a high of 63 lakhs. And this 63 lakh happens in March 2021. This is around the time of the budget, and I had shared a lot of information about my trades during this time. So now we can see that from 22 lakhs right up till 63 lakhs, once again the account has moved 3x. So from 10 lakhs to 27 lakhs, 22 lakhs to 63 lakhs. So we are seeing a pattern in our expansions. But this time from 63 lakhs, when the account falls, it creates a low of 50 lakhs, 51 lakh, 51 lakh, 51 lakh, 50 lakhs, 51 lakh, and 50 lakhs. So we can see that for the last, I mean, almost this entire financial year, I have been defending career gains of 50 lakh rupees. And now any trader worth his or her salt will quickly identify that this stock is forming a triple or a quadruple bottom on the back of an uptrend, which basically means that on the first sign of support, you want to increase quantity on the system around this 50 to 50 lakh support zone. And this information, if true, which means that if we are at 50 lakh gains, if at any point in time we exceed gains of 12 to 13 lakh rupees, we would have now created a fresh breakout on our all-time high charts, resulting in a possibly fresh trigger from 50 to, if it is a 3x, to hopefully 150 lakhs. So in this context, we will now understand. So I hope we have understood that we have used our P&L data not just to determine our performance, but also to see what percentage of our positions do we give away. And as a professional trader, what I am trying to achieve is that my maximum drawdown should not go beyond 10%. Even 20%, that is 12 lakhs on a gain of 60 lakhs, is not fun. I would want it to be at less than 20%, not just now, for the rest of my trading career. And if I have to lose more than 10 or 15%, then it has to be a complete freak event in the markets. And this information, this desire to not lose that much money, I mean, of course we can make money, but the fact that we don't want to lose money because of many reasons decides on how we are going to determine our quantities. So just a quick recap, what we did is we captured all our data, we placed it into an Excel format. We simply created additional columns to determine the total P&L and the run status, that is loss. We used an if statement and simple addition statements, and we identified period to basically be able to calculate the x-axis of our graph. And once we had the total P&L, with this information we could understand the equity curve that our account has followed. Now once And with this means, and once we got this, we basically could identify what is our drawdown and what actions to take when your own account is forming a saucer like base, or has come into a range. If you are confident, generally typically when you are forming a base, you will gradually begin to increase positions on that particular system which is forming a base. And as a trader, you will end up creating multiple systems, because you are going to not just, I mean, if you are profitable, you are not just going to handle your money, you are going to handle money for several types of people. And I can assure you that this kind of a fall from 8.5 lakh to 2.5 lakh, once again I'll repeat, these are our gains. Never did we lose principal after the start. So it was never a question of losing the account, it was simply a question of losing the gains. But if I were to lose 60% of someone's gains today, I can guarantee you, even if it is the profitable account, it will not be a profitable relationship. So so essentially, your next step as a trader is, of course, maintaining positions so that your growth is not compromised, but continuously you're focusing on trying to keep your drawdowns in check. And now the question is, how do we do that? I can understand you might get a little tired with this, but I don't think that's much of an option. So here we will see that I've just sample created a system in which I have created what we would call as parameters of evaluation, and I have created it for futures, options, and equities. This is how you could replicate. Now, this count of total contracts of 646 is basically simply a count of all the trades that we have executed. So I'll just zoom out a little bit so that it's comfortable. And now you can just basically see that this is the right up till here 647. So this 646 is simply representing the total number of contracts that is captured in that data. Total number of winners, we want to use this formula. So I will just once again try and zoom in so that it's easy. Now I don't know if you can see clearly, but if you just look at the bottom, you will see count if from the executed trades we are seeing a profit. And you will see that from the 646 trading trades that have taken, 247 have been in profit and approximately 400 have been losers, resulting in an accuracy of 38.2%. So this is the first information that we get, that our future system from 2017 till 2021 has worked at an accuracy of 38%. And while it is subjective, the individual knows that the individual is a much better trader in 2021 than perhaps in 2018 and than perhaps in 2017. So which means that the data should progressively improve, and this should be captured in the individual's trading records. And but by having 38.24 as your career average in a particular broker is a very safe bet. So it is much better to assume that you will be 38% accurate, because this is your data from your own data from 2017, which saw things like Brexit and demonetization and UP elections and general elections and so many other things, surgical strikes and so many other things that have followed in domestic and international markets. And also because this is your executed trade status, we can be reasonably sure that it is also capturing all the mistakes you make. So sometimes you enter a buy instead of a sell. Sometimes you try to average out, try to save a position. So all those good and bad trading habits are captured in this single number. So why this is important, I will come to that. Nonetheless, for now we are seeing that we have an accuracy of 38%, which means 2 out of 3 trades we should expect to fail. That's not it's not comfortable. We can see that the net profit that the system has accrued has been 1 crore 63 lakhs, and the net loss that we have accrued has been 1 crore 12 lakhs, and the average profit, which is the total profit divided by total winners, is 66,000 rupees, whereas our average loss, which is cumulative loss divided by total losers, is 28,000 rupees, resulting in a system RR of 2.35 and an expectancy value of 7,893, which means that every time we take a trade, we should expect to make 7,893, provided our trading behavior is consistent with what we have done from 2017 to 2021. and because this number is a positive number, therefore the system is telling you to take more trades. If this number were a negative number, then the system will tell you do not take more trades using these parameters or this behavior as a base of your trading. So the point once again of documenting all our executed trades was, in addition to taking us to this particular table, to this particular graph which showed us our system drawdowns, our run streak. It also shows how many cumulative losses we experienced, how many cumulative gains we experienced, what was our biggest winner, biggest loser, etc. And moving this down into a simple table, and which you can do for each of your systems, and then you could have something here which is a cumulative, which means you could just simply add these particular rows to get this value. Will now begin to tell you how your systems are faring, and a system which has a positive expectancy value means you should repeat the system, and a system which has a negative expectancy value means you should stop. It's a non-scalable system. Okay, now a non-scalable system does not mean that it is not a profitable system. So a system with a negative expectancy value can be far more profitable in objective absolute money terms than a system with a positive expectancy value, because a positive EV system needs to run hundreds of thousands of times, whereas a negative EV system requires you to go typically all in based on some very specific information that cannot be scaled. So, for example, if you were to receive some news that the government of India has decided to bail out Idea, with that information, what is the best thing that you could do? Most likely, you would take up a long position on Idea, or if you believe that this information has been factored into the price, you will take up a contra short position against the news on Idea. These are one of the two things, because irrespective, the news flow is such that you expect Idea to take a direction. Now, whether you're long Idea or short Idea, the one thing that you cannot do based on this information is to take up a position on Airtel, or to take up a position on Reliance Industries or some Himachal Futuristic. You can't use this information and scale it to other stocks of the same sector, same index, etc. The reason being, this information is specific to Idea, and therefore this is non-scalable. However, if you are trading because Idea has dipped below its 200 DMA, and if that is simultaneously the case with Reliance, with Bharti Airtel, then you could take up multiple positions on all of these stocks, and your justification would be price below 200 DMA in a structurally uptrend chart. Now, this is a positive EV system in theory, which will be proven if it is positive or not based on your information. But this is a system which in principle can be scaled, because as long as there is the market, we can safely assume that there will be securities which are either trading below, on, or above the 200 DMA. And if you use that as a reference, you can create a system in theory. Now, just to show this to you now, is that we can see here that from 63 lakh, the 50 lakh dip that has happened, it is important to know that any gain above 13 lakh rupees basically creates a fresh breakout, which is something that I mentioned. And this is important is because now we will see that here we are seeing in my current open positions precisely that gain 1 week before the expiry of 15 lakh 30,000. Now I have not entered these stock positions because these are still open. For example, ITC at 5 lakh 91, Kotak at 474, ONGC at 296, Reliance at 112. As we can clearly see that we have in the past maintained these records, so it is quite reasonable for us to be able to get this kind of a score. But exactly what we will get, we will have to wait and see, and we do not know if the market collapses or we do not know. But if it were to close exactly where it is, then we can be reasonably sure that this chart price would now come above 63 lakhs, would come somewhere around 65 lakh, and this would be a first breakout after a range, and warranting me as a trader to add further capital to this particular system. And So once we have done this, we have created a summary sheet which basically tells us if our system is repeatable, scalable, or if we should basically go into fewer trades with larger quantities based on specific information. We can further simplify this into a quarterly way of assessment, and in this now here through, it's essentially the same data that has been factored into various ways, but this information will now give you the absolute answer that as of AMJ 21, which is April, May, June 21, I was up 693% from AMJ 21. So, and my career high has been 786%. So, which means for this system in this account since 2017 to 2021, at its highest, I have reached 786% gains on a base of 7.5 lakh rupees. So this is captured here, which you will see was the capital base in 2017, and on this base of 7.5 lakh rupees, the account currently, since last recorded in April, May, June, we have not yet added July, August and September as it is coming, but we know that as of now our value is exactly where it is in June. Only difference is that September, as in when it closes, gives me July, August, September, that is JAS 21 data. And if it closes at 15 lakh rupees that we have just discussed, we know that this will show 786 because we have just seen that at 15 lakhs approximately, we will be forming a double top. But if the expiry is stronger, then I would have created a fresh all-time high, and it is reasonably safe to assume that the next quarter will then show 800% from the start. Now, a lot of information that has I have tried to share here, and using this information, the question that we discussed earlier is how do we determine money management? Now, once we have understood that our accuracy is 38.24%, our system RR is 2.35%, 2.35 times. When we have a system with 38% accuracy, we now need to see what is the probability of losing a certain number of trades in a sequence of 100 trades. So a 38% accuracy system falls between 35 and 40%, and we can see that if a system has 40% accuracy, there is a 42% chance that we are going to hit 10 consecutive losses in a series of 100 trades. And at 35% accuracy, there is a 71% chance. So I would give it something like 65%. And that a system with 38% accuracy has 10 consecutive losses in a series of 100 trades. Now, how do we interpret this 65%? Interpreting 65% occurrence of an event is very, very easy in trading, because any number equal to or greater than 1% means that that event in your trading career is almost certainly going to happen, which means that the only way you would not want to plan for 10 consecutive failures is the day your trading system shows you 65% accuracy. It is not necessary now to show 65% accuracy on a base of as many trades that I have taken. I will need to streak at 70-80% accuracy for a very long time for that change to happen. And when that change happens, so I understand that I could lose up to 10 consecutive trades comfortably, and when I study my own data in detail, I will see that my worst performance has been up to 12 consecutive losses, and I will consider 17 as the ultimate slap on the face. So I know that 17 losses is consecutively possible, so it's only a question of how much amount do I want to risk per trade. So using this information, I will now move towards this risk of ruin calculator from Second Skies Forex. And here in this risk of ruin calculator, I will add simple things. That is, first of all, what is my payoff ratio? We can see it is 2.35, so I have written 2.3. What is the system accuracy? We can see it is 38.24, so I have written 38. Now the question is, how much should I risk? So Let's assume that I have an account of 1 crore, and in that account of 1 crore, if I decide to risk 1% of the account equity, or 0.5%, 1% of the account equity, then the account value is 1 lakh. That is percentage of equity that is risked. However, if I feel that even though I have 1 crore as trading capital, this is not 1 crore as risk capital, which means 1 crore could be the trading capital, but I am not okay with losing the full 1 crore. I could somehow tolerate losing 25 lakh. That is, we are talking the worst. And remember, the whole point of discussing all of this is because we are factoring what happens when you're going to lose money. If you're going to make money, life is quite simple. But what to do when we lose money and how to continue doing what we are doing, that's the objective of this particular video. So in an account of say 10 million, if I am willing to lose only 2.5 million, then my percentage equity should be calculated on 2.5 million. And if on 2.5 million I am risking 0.1 million, then I am essentially risking 4% of equity. And now using that 4% of equity, I simply ask the system to calculate the risk of ruin. Okay, it's come here. I'll just refresh it. And risk of ruin. And here the system is giving me a 0.5% chance using the system that an account of 1 crore will make a low of 80 lakh. A 0.5% chance at 4% risk on equity. In practicality, it is interesting for you to note that in an account of 1.25 crore, each trade that we take actually risks only 0.4%. And that 0.4% risk is done to ensure that that account does not even dip 20%. What is 0.4% in an account of 1.25 crore incidentally becomes roughly 4% in an account of 15 lakhs. So therefore, the account of 15 lakh or a smaller account is going to show far greater growth rates. However, it maintains the risk of ruin. And even though this number looks very small, 0.4821%, I can assure you when law of large numbers is at play, you don't want to see this 0.48% against you. So the only way for me to justify maintaining 4% equity in a system that has an accuracy of 38% is to increase the payoff ratio, or a system which has a payoff ratio of 2.3, I need to increase the accuracy. Unless this is happening, there is no point of this happening, and therefore you will continue working on reaching a level till this value reaches near 0. You don't want to lose any money. And 1.4%. So what this is basically telling is that if you risk 1.4% of equity, your account will never become 0. But if you risk 4% of equity, your account has a 0.5% chance of becoming 0. And even though 0.5% seems very, very small, you don't want to have this in your trading system, because with that you are very, very, very likely to make serious position sizing mistakes. And what we have learned is we basically don't want to repeat something like this here, this from 8 lakh to 2.5 lakh. This is a bad fall, and there are specific reasons why this whole phase of 2019, I can remember it. I quit my job, I started this whole business, I got additional capital. It was a phase in my life, and it's captured in this graph here. It's captured in this graph. So what looks like a graph is actually your progress report, your curve of success or failure. And I'm reasonably confident that the amount you can understand about yourself by looking at your own price action performance and by sharing it with someone from whom you want to understand, whom you want to advise, that individual can pinpoint it to you mathematically of what your position sizing needs to be in order for you to survive in the game. And survival in the game is the only way to take money from the market, because we know that a very small percentage of traders are going to take very big percentage of gains. So we just need to survive, and because as you survive you learn each day, each trade, every documented input, you learn further and further. And I'm reasonably confident that these learnings will contribute uh, to your financial growth as a trader. And even if they don't, you still have to follow the process to increase the odds. So if improving the odds, working on your trading system, understanding that there is more to the market than just identifying if ITC or Kotak is going to be a profitable trade or not, will go a long way in helping you understand whether or not this profession is for you in the long term. I hope this video has been useful to you in some way. Till we meet again next week. Have a good weekend. Thank you.